afternoon, everybody.
Hello.
Well, hello. Happy almost holiday season. It is amongst us. So I am going to welcome, obviously, each and every one of you. And as I'm looking around, I wanted to acknowledge, do we have any first-time individuals, residents, who are new to the community and this is their first day to the castle? I don't think so. As I was looking around, I'm like, we have the veteran group here now. At this point, I might as well invite you all up to give my announcements. You know, we know the routine. But anyways, we have a nice agenda today. We'll open it up. We had a lot of just updates for you this month. Not a ton of questions were submitted. So I challenge you for next month, really put your thinking cap on and submit your questions to the front desk and we'll get those submitted for next State of the Castle. And as you see, we have a 2-pager of just some updates that we'd like for you to take along with you after this meeting so that they can be nice reminders, or if you need scratch paper for any future needs as well. But first, I'm going to welcome up Lynn, your resident council president, for her update for this month.
Hey everybody. Usually I have a week to ponder, so my thoughts are very organized. We had council meeting this morning, so I'm winging it. I would like to apologize. There's only 2 of us in the room who are involved, but we had dinner last night with some good friends, and we were the noisiest table in the Gilman. I won't mention any other names, with the laughter and the noise from our table, so if we interrupted your conversations, I apologize, but we were having a lot of fun. Okay, just 2 quick things. Joe is not here. I'm not sure if Jane is, but here comes State of the Castle. Part of that is written out on your, sheets here, your information sheets. The raffle baskets will be out on display in the hallway here. I think they're in the hallway, I forget. On the 4th, so they're all going to be put together. Lots of good things from merchants, things from the treasure chest, just remarkable. And then the Bradford Marketplace, or the Marketplace, nobody is new here, so most of you have seen it. That's where you can go in and buy like an artificial Christmas tree that somebody donated, or some ornaments in case you need more. That will be set up in the Bradford Terrace entryway lobby there. And that is on the 5th and the 6th. And then on the 6th itself is the huge all-day festivities, one thing after another, concerts and food and drinks and all that kind of stuff. That was kind of the big thing from council this morning. One other thing, the wellness committee, who's here from the wellness committee who wants to take responsibility? Okay, I'm just going to point to a couple of people. The wellness committee is a very active committee. You may or may not know about it. But they are responsible for some of our speakers, some of our activities. They really do a lot of things that you may not be aware of. They need to have another member join, or a couple members join, especially someone who would be willing to chair the committee next year. Don't all raise your hands at once. But please think about it. Don is here, and Mary is here. Or go to a wellness committee meeting and just see what it's like. They assured me you get lots of support, but somebody who can just run the meeting, okay? So please give that some thought, because they do contribute quite a bit to our life here at East Castle. I almost said Newcastle. I'm never doing this again. Okay,
Thank you, Lynn. All right, and next I am happy to introduce Riley Taggett, our interim administrator. And before, obviously, Riley gives a healthcare update, I just want to thank Riley, as Riley's interim assignment here as administrator will conclude on Wednesday, the 25th. So next Wednesday will be Riley's last day in her interim role. She will be moving to Arizona, or back to Arizona, right on time for winter, but much appreciated, obviously, for all of your interactions with our wonderful residents, our staff, and the work that you've done here. So, right?
Thank you. Hello, everybody. Can everybody hear me okay? Alrighty, so all is well in Bradford Terrace. Our nursing leadership team has been out at conference this week. So they're at Focus, which is put on by the Wisconsin Healthcare Association, getting all that education to hopefully bring back to the community and implement. So we are excited for that. Additionally, we did have surveyors on site this month in our assisted living and memory care. They were here on a complaint survey. Those concerns were unsubstantiated and we left with no citations. So all is well on that side. That was our reaction too. And as Lindsay said, I am departing as of next Wednesday and heading back to Arizona. Perfect timing with the winter. And Brooke Harris will be assuming as your permanent administrator. But it was so nice to meet you all. Thank you for all the kindness that you've shown me. And it's always been wonderful. Thank you guys.
Thank you, Riley. So Evan had some sick family members at home, so he had to depart this morning and return home to his wife and baby, who caught the flu bug, it appears, or some of the sort. So I will be giving the update, even though I know Lynn introduced the Christmas at the Castle and all of the fun that we will have starting. Raffle tickets for Christmas at the Castle go on sale Black Friday. So November 28th, a week from this Friday, we will start raffle tickets for the raffle baskets. And then starting December 4th will be the actual display of the raffle baskets. The marketplace for Christmas at the Castle will open December 5th at 7 a.m. And this year, again, as mentioned by Lynn, it'll be in the Bradford Terrace lobby. And then the big exciting events happen on December 6th. Where from 1 to 3 p.m. on Saturday, December 6th, we will not have our normal lunch service. We will have appetizers, drinks, and that will be in the 1884. To which we will have our holiday choir performance. One show will be at 2 o'clock, and that will be encouraged by our Bradford Terrace residents to be able to attend that first show. And then at 3:15, we will have a second holiday performance as usual, and that will be for independent living residents, or encourage that you all come to that performance. Just obviously we can't fit everyone in here all at once, and everyone loves to hear the beautiful voices of our choir. And then immediately following the choir performance at 4 o'clock, we will move back to the 1884/dining room for happy hour, and then announcements of the raffle basket winners. And then again at 5 o'clock, so a full day, we will have our buffet for our dinner that evening. And again, as I'm sure Majarka will go over during hers, reservations are required for that, so pencil it in now. And then floor decoration competition. So we will have Belfiore decorating our common areas next Friday, on Black Friday, and then for your independent areas and hallways and floors, we will have the judging take place on December 16th with the winners announced, and we will have 2 winners this year, and that will be December 17th at the December 17th happy hour. Excellent. Any questions on the holiday excitement upcoming?
Santa Claus coming?
December 25th, absolutely, mark your calendars. Yes.
Will there be mass at 3 o'clock in this room, as there customarily is on Saturdays?
There will be mass that day, but it will not be in this room. I believe it's in Bradford Terrace, but I'm not positive of the location, but there is mass, just a different location.
So the question was, will there be mass on Saturday of Christmas at the Castle at 3 o'clock? The answer is yes, there still will be Catholic Mass. It just will not be housed in Lindsay Hall. It'll be in a different location, so please make sure you double check the calendar location if you plan to attend Mass that day. Great question. All right. Next, I'm going to introduce Mike Brever. Come on up for his Employee Appreciation Fund update.
Thank you. Thank you, Lindsay. I do have some very exciting news to share with you, and I'm going to begin by not forcing you to listen to me for the whole thing, I'm going to bring up Bob Faraday while I futz with the computer up here, your council representative, who's been the face and the voice of this campaign. I know he has a couple of things he'd like to share with you, and pay no attention to the guy behind the curtain. I'm just futzing with this.
Hi, everybody. You know, before the campaign begins, you always wonder when you report on the final.
Mike, Bob, Mike.
Oh, when you report on the results of the campaign at the end, what you're going to be saying and how you feel about it. You will find out. There are 3.5 days left in the campaign because it shuts down next Monday morning. So these are not final numbers. But a few potential donors remain at this point. And a recap is what's happened so far. During the drive, 3 letters were delivered to your apartment ledges with a ribbon tied around each one on September 30, October 15, and November 13. So essentially a 6-week time period. A total of 20 hourly employees with multiple departments were featured in those letters to convey the real purpose of what we're trying to do here, which is to recognize them. Approximately 150 employees will share in a year-end appreciation bonus on their December 5th check. The amount of the bonus will vary solely by quarters worked. So if they worked a quarter of the year, a half a year, 3 quarters, or full, it's just divvied up that way. Everyone is treated the same, irrespective of their salary. The team that helped me in this effort, including Mary LaCharité, who provided some key campaign suggestions and an initial letter review, and I'm very appreciative to her. Anna Landis, who provided the picture layout and selection. And then Mike Brever, who basically provided everything else, including photography, letter printing, ribbon tying, the delivery, and overall consultation. He really was a wonderful partner. So you might wonder, well, what was my role? My role was to stay out of the way, which I did very well. I'm going to give you the preliminary results, which I hope I would have said in the beginning. The first is, we will have a successful outcome. 2, we're at 90% participation. 90%. The average gift of suggested donation of 10 or 520, you blew right past that. So we don't need to worry about that. The resident feedback has been most positive from what I have received, especially the pictures of the employees. I think that was helpful. Mike will have some things to share, but before he does that, I really want to thank you. I've been involved in a lot of campaigns over the years, and I think the generosity and the commitment of what we're trying to do here came through in spades, and you will see that with the numbers that Mike is going to share. So I was going to tell you to give yourself a big round of applause, but don't do that yet. Wait until you hear what Mike has to say.
Thank you, Bob. This really has been a fun campaign to work on. If you never had a chance to work with Bob on something, you've missed out on a real treat. He represents your resident council very, very well, and this wouldn't have happened without him, so I'm very, very grateful. I thought you might like to begin, if I've got it. What did I do with the remote? Don't have it. We're going to move on.
We understand.
Thought you'd like to begin. Yeah, I know. Thought you'd like to begin with a little bit of a history of where we are. You see, in 2022, the Employee Appreciation Fund raised $63,765. Not sure where I'm going with this. Hold on. There we go. The next year, 75,842. Really a dramatic improvement. We were past the impact of COVID. We were wrapping up the construction that was going on here at East Castle, so we were starting to rebound very, very nicely. In 2024, $82,435, something that Bob and I worked on the campaign last year. We were very, very proud of that. This year, as of today, and I updated the numbers about an hour ago, $93,600.
Hey, give yourself a round of applause.
Something I think you can all be very, very proud of. And on behalf of all of the hourly employees that will benefit from your generosity, please accept my deepest appreciation. Believe me, this is a wonderful group of people that I get to work with and that serve you on a daily basis, and they're very, very deserving. This year we've received contributions from 102 individuals. You know that there's 112 units of independent living, so when Bob and I tell you 90% people of eligible donors have donated thus far, be aware that there were some from off-campus. Family members of people in healthcare donated as well. So 102 individual donors representing 90% of potential donors. That is a 16% increase in donors from last year. Bob told you at the beginning of the campaign 10 weeks ago, our goal was participation. Whether we raised more money or less money wasn't the issue. The issue was we wanted everybody to understand that this was something that benefits people, that serve you on a daily basis, and we wanted all of you to have an opportunity to say thank you, and I think you all really, really knocked it out of the park. That represents a 14% increase in donations from last year. Something that I'm very, very, very pleased with. The average donation this year was, if you take all the donors and the amount of money, $918, but 42% of you gave more than that. 42% of you gave more than $900. I'm just blown away by that. I will also point out that this year, $11,211 more than last year. Just a phenomenal, phenomenal amount of money. I will also tell you that 24% of you are taking advantage of ways to donate that I will define as non-traditional. You've either signed up for monthly contributions, and by the way, 3 of you have already done that for 2026. So 3 of you have already jumped on the bandwagon for the coming year. I also have a number of you that have donated through a qualified charitable distribution from your IRA, and several of you have donated through a donor-advised fund. Again, I'm extremely grateful. I want to send you my personal thanks for everything that you've done on behalf of all the hourly employees here at East Castle Place. I can assure you they're going to have a wonderful holiday season because of your generosity. Can Bob or I answer any questions for you?
Just curious as to how many hourly employees we have.
I think there's 150 that will be benefiting from the fund this year.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Hearing none, I'm going to turn it over to Eric Peterson.
Michael, thank you.
Very much. Thank you, Bob.
Thank you, Mark. Okay, tough act to follow there. I'll talk about one thing I had here, then a couple updates and some mechanical issues that have come up, just so you kind of know what the problem was and what the resolution was. Furnace maintenance. I think you all got the email blast of the, what calls it heating system maintenance, because we have different kinds of heating systems here. But we do a couple things in that visit, just as a reminder. I'll go through the schedule first. December 2nd, that's a Tuesday. We'll be in Lake Terrace, all 4 floors. Wednesday the 3rd, we will do the first 2 floors of North Point Terrace. Thursday the 4th, we'll do floors 3 and 4 of North Point Terrace. And then Friday the 5th, we'll wrap up taking care of Historic Terrace. The reason is not just the furnace filter, but it's just to do a condition check. It helps us mitigate breakdowns at the most inconvenient times, which is usually about 10 o'clock on a Friday. Your heat isn't working, or at least that's when you notice it's not working. So really it's to cut down on that, so it's not just the filter. We're doing an observation and maintenance of everything in the unit. Some of the units over in Historic Terrace, those are actuators. So in those cases, we'll identify if there's a greater issue. We may follow up the next week with you if we have to come back to do any sort of major service. Oftentimes there are a few, so do expect that. While we're out, we'll also be taking care of swapping out the batteries in your carbon monoxide detectors. That really only affects North Point Terrace, because Lake Terrace and Historic Terrace, you guys have that hot water or cold water. That's the sense of the actuators. But North Point Terrace is all gas-fired furnaces. So we're required to have a monoxide detector within about 25 feet of the gas source. So you'll see that in your home. But we'll change out the batteries so they don't beep. But just be prepared for that. Other mechanical items. Yesterday we had elevator C acting a little funny. Essentially the door operator facing floors 1 through 4, not the other side where it gets off on G. That door operator was failing. The door was starting to open really funny. It would close okay, but it was kind of chattering as it was closing, or excuse me, opening. The motor on the door failed. So fortunately we thought ahead. We actually have a spare down in the other elevator room, which we'll need to replace now. But we did replace that yesterday. So that was operational as of, I think he was out here about 3:30 yesterday. Another one that came up, I heard quite a few calls, so I tried to touch on the ones for the greater community. The Lake Terrace garage door was getting stuck open periodically for what appeared to be no apparent reason, because we couldn't replicate the issue when we went and found it and closed it and tried to perform the same problem. But we did have guys out last week, and they've since done some repairs in the door, realigned the eyes, and done a complete system and software update on the operator. And it seems to be okay. So, other than that, any other questions for me? Yes.
The door stuck open last night.
Was it really?
So we just went where it says there's those buttons.
Yep.
And we
Yep.
pressed the
Open,
button.
close. No kidding. He went through the whole thing too. Okay. Well, we'll call Tim from Guys Back and see, and we'll explain to him. Do you know if it was stuck all the way open or partially open? All the way. Thank you. Any other questions? Yes, Margaret?
The hallway on Historic, the whole north end for sure, is always very cold. And
North end, 4th floor of Historic is cool.
and somebody suggested that there might be a door like up to the roof. Sometimes they're left propped open, and that might be why our hallway is really cold. But I never heard that before. I just thought I'd pass it along. But
Yeah.
I'm not sure why. Robin adjusted a thermostat at one point, but it's still really cold.
Good. So the question was, or the comment was that the fourth floor of Historic, the north end, that'd be like the 0605, is cool. And it's not so much that there's any sort of access hatch to the roof. That's actually on the other end by 01. But oftentimes what it is windows are open during the summer months, and when they're shut, our double hungs have a tendency to slide down on the top. So if they're not locked and latched, there is no compression of the weather stripping. And so you get a little bit of a draft off the top of the window, and it doesn't look like it. You don't see it or think to look for it, but it feels like the hallway's cool. But we'll certainly go up there and take a look.
And the south end of the 4th floor Historic is rather chilly as well.
Made its way all the way down? Okay. Check the windows there. We often find them to the right of the elevators when you get off that look out in the courtyard. Those windows oftentimes, we have to keep an eye out for that. Okay, I'll move along. Majorca is next on the calendar.
Good afternoon, everyone. I just have a little reminder about holidays, since next week starts kind of the holiday season. So the last page is our holiday schedule. It is what we will be doing for the holidays for the next couple of weeks here. This information is on the app, and Evan did also send it out in an e-blast. So nothing has changed. We just kind of wanted to remind everybody that the holidays are coming up. So our first holiday is Thanksgiving, which is next week, Thursday. We will have a traditional Thanksgiving meal in the Gilman. The menu is, Tanya will be putting out in the bistro today. It's turkey, ham, stuffing, green bean casserole, sweet potatoes, dessert, salad, things like that. So if you can make your reservation for us for that by Monday. We can't really cook all the turkey Thursday morning if we don't know how many people are coming. So just make your reservation by Monday so we can kind of plan accordingly for that. Then the next event is Christmas at the Castle, which is the following Saturday. That, as Lindsay had mentioned, we're going to do things a little bit different this year. That starting at 1, we'll have some appetizers and cocktails in the 1884 that you can kind of just come down at your leisure. There is no reservations required for that part of the program. When you are coming to dinner that night, though, we would like you to make dinner reservations for the buffet. Then after that is Christmas, but we'll kind of touch base with Christmas and New Year's at our next State of the Castle. Any questions at all? Yes, Mrs. Hazelmeyer.
The happy hour on the 6th from 4 till 5, are there appetizers there?
We'll probably have a few appetizers. We kind of planned heavy apps from that 1 to 5, so it might be something that we had earlier, or it might be something new that we put out. Tim and I actually have not written the menu yet for that. That's our to-do list on Monday, but there will be food available for that. Any other questions? All right, and then I think we're back to Lindsay.
All right. Well, so for my updates this month, I need to lower this for my height. I am very pleased, as Riley alluded to and mentioned, and I hope you all have seen the memo sent out that we welcomed Brooke Harris this week on Monday, which is fantastic. Brooke will be our permanent administrator now. So she will office out of the 4th floor of the health center, last door on the left. And she will oversee all of Bradford Terrace and then support the greater operations in partnership with myself. So Brooke obviously is not here to introduce herself. She will be here for our next State of the Castle and give an introduction and the usual Bradford Terrace update. But there will be a Brooke meet and greet and welcome event that will have some light appetizers and drinks on December 4th at 2 p.m. in Lindsay Hall. So that will be nice. Brooke will have just a brief introduction surrounding herself, her work history, just general interest for you all to get to know Brooke and get acclimated with her. Resident photo directory and map. So that will be our Christmas gift to each and every one of you this year, it appears, or the holiday gift. So we've had many new neighbors move in to the community recently, and so we are getting their photos included into the directory so that we have the most comprehensive directory available for you to make acknowledgments, to make notes, and to have a physical paper copy that we will have delivered for you by the holidays. Anna said it's going to be her holiday gift to each and every one of you, as well as the map that will be included with that. So that will be great, and the map, as we continue to receive feedback on it, it is in the final stages. That should be printed soon, and that will be a very user-friendly map, obviously accessible by our front desk, having different points of interest throughout the community that will make any of your navigation or visitors, families, friends to get from point A to point B much easier. And then wild cards. Yes?
On the the photo directory, I heard a comment that there were not going to be biographies included with the photos. Is that correct?
That is correct. So the statement was we will not have biographies included in the photo directory. It will just be photos with your name and your room number. The reason being is some of you are very long writers, and I think we would have a small Harry Potter series if we printed all of the bios, unfortunately. Well, fortunately, because you all have written very nice things, but some of them are very long that when we did try that at first, because that was our initial idea to have those along with it, they are just far too long, and you would have truly a coffee table book at that rate. So we will have, obviously there will be space, it will be accessible to pull pages out, put new pages in as we update in the 2026 year. I encourage you to obviously utilize the app, read the bios, and perhaps for some light reading at night, take some notes for new neighbors and acknowledge what's in the app within those bios and put that on to pen and paper if that suits you best. But to print it all, it's just far too long.
Lindsay?
Yes.
Will paper copies of the bios be available?
We will not have paper copies of the bios available. And the reason being is because printing all of those bios, again, is just a ton of, it's just far too long to print all of those.
So those of us who don't have access to the app don't have access to the bios either?
So if you do not have access to the app, which a vast majority of you do, I know there's just a small few who do not utilize the app, we can set that up to be able to get you access to those bios if you would like to make those notes. I can work with Evan on that and Scott.
Lindsay, one more?
Yes.
Oh,
That was you.
I got you there.
Yeah, okay. Would that map ever be put on the app so that if, say, we were talking to our kids or whatever, we could send a little map to them on the way to get to your apartment?
Sure. So the statement was, would the map be able to be put on the app? And I don't see why not. Absolutely. It would be in a PDF form.
Yeah.
Because obviously would be scanned in, but we could provide the map on the app, certainly. Good suggestion. Yeah.
And would it be posted somewhere?
The map necessarily will not be posted. It'll be available at the front desk.
What about a binder with photos and bios in the library? One binder so anybody could access it.
The statement was, what about the binder with photos and bios in the library? I think that's a good thought and a good idea. It's just a matter of keeping it maintained and updated, which would obviously take a bit of logistics, and as well as exactly how that prints, because unfortunately it doesn't print super easy, and that's why actually the photo directory has taken longer, just to make it look viewer friendly. Otherwise, technically you could hit print now on your own home printer for the directory in Touchtown. So with all of the bios, and I think then you would experience what we experienced on the front end, that perhaps your home printer doesn't have the capabilities to handle that amount. But we can look into something along those lines. So more to come. I will make note. Any other photo or questions surrounding photos in the map? Yes?
Date of next meeting?
Yeah, I will get there, absolutely. So, wildcard reminders. So, on the back of the agenda here, we have just a brief overview of the wildcards, as there's been quite a bit of feedback of our extraordinary impressions cards and people perhaps feeling uninspired to write them if they feel as if staff aren't going to be receiving them or receiving points. So I want to reassure you that a vast majority of what you write and what you submit, our employees do receive those extraordinary impressions points. And with that, they also, if they were not to receive those points, no matter what, that gets posted as a public recognition for our employees, and they also receive a copy of it. And really what I want to echo and remind you all, because this came out this week, and I think it's just a great reminder of everyone's experience is different, and what you feel obviously as is extraordinary service and extraordinary work that our staff do every day. And so if you see, perhaps growth in an employee or kind of the evolution of an employee as they continue to make great strides, for example, our servers in the dining room, and from when they first started serving your table to today, they've just really found their stride, attention to detail, and you have provided that exceptional experience. Please write a wow card and put as much detail as possible within that wow card. So one, for example, because I review all the wow cards every week, one this week that I read was, Lila was so nice. fantastic. Lila is nice every day. That is part of every employee's job expectation. And, you know, I will tell Teresa and I will tell Lila, and we would post that and give it to the employee or Lila that she was obviously very nice and to keep that up. But I'm sure there was a more memorable experience that prompted that card, right? So what I would say for you all to write these cards and keep this great program that you have all adopted ongoing is to write the experience that you had that made you feel leaving that Lila was nice. Because I'm sure there was some interaction or experience that Lila provided you that was memorable, obviously enough for you to write a card. And if you put that detail in, that would be something that would likely justify Lila to receive those points rather than Lila was nice. So any questions? Yes?
Well, I wasn't sure when you have the differentiation between everyday duties and above and beyond extraordinary impressions. There's just one wild card, right?
Correct.
Can you make a determination which category it goes into by what people write? Is that correct?
That is correct. So the statement was between these, the differentiator on the back of everyday duties and then what is above and beyond. These are just one wild card. There is not two, but this is what we're trying to help of differentiate or perhaps clarification of what everyday job expectations are versus what is going above and beyond. And that's where I'm saying the more details, the better. Because again, this is your experience as residents here and our staff providing services to you. And that will help us differentiate if it's just an everyday duty of, again, the example of Lila being nice, or if it was going above and beyond based on your experience or what that situation was. Yeah.
Are the wild cards available both in that area, but also like in the library?
They are in the library.
They are in the library.
They are?
Yes.
Right next to the machine where you
I'll have to
can,
look for them.
yeah, when you return books, there's a little box right there. Where you return your library, it says wild
That's what
cards.
I think.
Yeah, so there is wild cards in the library right next to the checkout system desk area. So, and then a little box for you to return them.
There's no checkout system. Ever.
Just the returns. But yes, the wild cards are available in the library for you to write them down and then as well as return them there. And they do get checked multiple times a week. Who has the first question for me today? Because that concludes my updates. Well, I just want to make note that my clerical skills need a little bit of improvement, and I have the next State of the Castle date wrong. So, at the bottom of this, next State of the Castle will in fact not be Saturday, December 20th at 1 p.m. It will be December 18th at 1 p.m. So it will be the Thursday before the week of Christmas and those holidays. Because again, Christmas is on a Thursday this year, so we will not be hosting State of the Castle on that day. We will have it that week before, similar to how November is operating as well. So December 18th at 1 p.m. Thank you, Mr. Hobbs. Okay, any other questions for me? Otherwise, it appears we will give you 20 minutes free back in your day. All right, everyone have a fantastic Thanksgiving, happy holiday season, and we'll see you soon.